You're tuned to the wavelength of your own beauty. It's your host, Ahmed Yunus, and this is The Study. You know, my studio situation is still under construction. Oh, I love I think you would get I think they would give you like an 8. No, they give you an 8 out of 10. They would be like, "What's up with that glass, Hanan?"
This?
Yeah.
This? Oh,
Yeah.
it has my initials. It has my initials.
Okay.
And I don't know. That's, yeah. I mean, I could do this.
I had a
And
sneezing
then that
attack right
makes
before we came on. I feel like I need to.
That's terrible. Why do you have a sneezing attack?
No, good. Now we're at like a 9. Is that a Webster's dictionary up there? Oh, she got to put it in. That's a half a point.
Yeah, that's just the translation. There's all kinds of stuff up here. It's like my little built-in. I mean, oh my gosh, this is so neat. I like totally forgot about this. One of my friends had brought this.
Oh my!
It's a little Arab dude that one of my friends brought back from Jordan.
And he's wearing Germany colors.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But yeah, it's cute. Here, there.
Yeah. No,
There you go.
No,
Yeah,
I love it. It looks beautiful.
It's in the corner.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I feel like you've been struggling. What's going on? We can talk about it. We have a minute.
It's just life, man. It's just life. It's just
Good.
hard, man. It's hard.
I can imagine.
It's hard, and there's a lot of variables, and
They're called.
Come to that.
Yeah. Family, children, responsibilities, a mortgage.
I didn't say that. So yesterday I was a guest on an old friend's podcast. It's called Making Sense of Islam.
Okay, that's nice.
And so we talked about and I realized that like 18 episodes into my podcast, I really haven't like delved into Islam yet, which is, you know, probably one of my stronger areas.
And this is probably why a lot of people are mad at you.
Are mad at me?
I'm mad at you. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Nobody's actually mad at you.
No, but I think you're right.
I'm just assuming. Yeah, I'm just assuming
right.
because I think a lot of people wanted you to be something, but
No.
sometimes we don't want to be that stuff. No, it's not just that, Ahmed. It's like here's how I see it, right? Like your personality is when you take something on, you do your best to learn everything that you can about it, right?
Yes.
For some people, they just assume that makes you an expert, and therefore that's just going to be your role.
Uh-huh.
Like, you learn so much, how can you not share your knowledge?
Uh-huh.
But sometimes it's like not what you want to do with your life. You're like, this is not who I am. Like, this is one facet of me, it's one part of me, but it shouldn't be like all of me. So
I really appreciate you saying that. Because, you know, I'm 41 and it's taken me about 41 years to try to break from these things. I think I was also keen on trying to get like a procedural flow before I start engaging in substance that, electrifies people. Like, can I just give you an example? Okay, wait. Can I introduce this?
You can introduce. Before I introduce this, do you
Hanan.
like my? Here, let me move this out of the way because.
Wait, what is that? Is that some sort of fake?
No,
you just got called out.
No. I'll show it to you. No, this is like one of my favorite photo frames. It's just empty, like a lot of other photo frames. I have a really eclectic collection of photo frames. That's something you don't know about me.
I am not doubting it.
But then this way you guys can see this other picture.
Yeah, this is a State Department mug, but I drink it backwards now because
okay.
Pompeo's a shame.
But see, here's my other one of my favorite frames. It's a little purse, and that's my sister and my cousin.
Oh, very
and
cool.
It's one of my favorite pictures with some of my most favorite people. So
I love it.
Anyways, this cabinet houses, like, it's a built-in. If I do this, it's a built-in. It goes all the way to the top.
Wow.
Right? So, and it goes all the way to the floor, but it has like some of just like the neatest. It has some of the neatest things in there. So there's like wedding pictures, obviously. There's lots of books. There's this thing that Mahmoud had gotten from Al Jazeera as an award. It's like a really heavy piece of glass. I don't know why people do that. It's the most like
That's for intruders.
Yeah, it's like the most inconvenient. But see, look what I mean. Look, and then this is like a handmade frame that I bought in Mexico. I love eclectic frames.
But why don't you love putting pictures in them?
I'm lazy.
Okay, let me introduce this segment. Hanan Fawzy one of my friends. So the idea is wisdom comes in wisdom comes through all of God's creation. And one of the mistakes I think that we make as human beings is we look for people who exhibit the pietistic affectations of knowledge. Like, let me give you an example. Like, you see
Can you
here,
say that in English?
yeah, you see here, you see this here, you see
Yeah.
this has got like the seal of
Your walking
Washington.
stick?
This has got the seal of the university from which
Yeah.
I have my law degree, and it's got like my name and the year, and you know, I got like the regalia. And if we were in the ancient times, I would walk around with the stick and with my university regalia, and people would just be like, "Holy shit, that dude knows a lot." And I think we do that. We engage in these acts of pietism to prove that we're woke, or to prove that we're religious, or to prove that we're knowledgeable, etc.
Yeah.
And what I thought after you gave me the idea, okay, one of the ideas that you've blessed me with is that we should have a corner of the podcast where it's just called Real Talk, and I just call a friend and we just do what we're doing right now.
We just talk.
The world should know that you actually are the human being that convinced me to do a podcast to begin with. And you've been kind of pushing me really hard for a really long time to do it. And now we're doing it. Okay. So that's just so that people understand what's going on here. Okay. Hanan Fawzy, you're here. You are a font of wisdom. And I would like to begin with something that happened today.
That's a lie. That's a lie. It's not.
It's the
truth.
Not
I'm full of wisdom. I am full of opinions that I think might be useful. Okay, wisdom is a big word, and I like to think that I still have a lot to learn. It's just useful opinions.
You're unfinished. You're in the process of always becoming.
Always.
Sorry, that's how we talk here in the study. So I love you for appreciating our quirkiness. Hanan, I want to present you with something that happened today that triggered a debate between me and my two best friends.
Okay.
What happened today is the LA Times published an article that said that the Breakfast Club in New York City, which has DJ E-Man, and it's got Charlemagne the God and Angela Yee. And it's a morning show. It's a morning hip hop show. And the LA Times said something like, the Breakfast Club has become the locus, the core, the arena, the most important like place for America's reckoning with race. And I and these two friends of mine have always had this debate where I feel like, no, this Charlemagne the God guy, he's kind of like a clown, and he's doing this kind of like quasi blackface thing, and like people are kind of laughing at him and not laughing. I don't like that dude. Okay. His their number one hit video online is when Birdman walked in and was like, "Hey, nigga, put some respect on my name. Put some respect on my name." And then he walked like, right, this is garbage, trash shit. And what you just mentioned is so brilliant, because part of the reason why I didn't come into the podcast world like doing Islam is because like Black Lives Matter was happening and the protests were happening, etc. But another part is because that would just set me up for this like Charlemagne the God thing, where I'm pretending like this is the locus of something that it's really not.
I don't think it's the same thing. It's like, for me, honestly, like it's apples.
And I just wanted to cuss him out on my podcast. Honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say that. No. And here's the thing, like, you have to also think a lot of this is not, this may not be him in real life, but this is the persona that he is chosen to be. He is chosen to be, this is who he is. So you got to like, it's a brand. Essentially, he's a brand now. So this is his brand, which is fine. I don't think that, I don't think it would have like cornered you to talk about Islam, or to be nobody can be any one thing, right? I think a lot of people, you had sort of that route for a while where you were, how do I say this? You were very
go ahead.
vocal.
You're not going to say anything worse than what's already been said.
Right. You know, you were like a super vocal Muslim American, right? Like
public Muslim.
Yeah, public Muslim. Thank you. That's a really good term.
You know how
Muslim.
cheesy that sounds and feels and
I know.
was. And, okay,
I know. But there's not a lot of public Muslims. So I think what ends up happening is that people expect you to be a certain way. But I think it would have been okay for you to still like, I don't think you should have launched. I'm with you. I actually like how you launched about critical thinking. But I think it's totally okay to be able to address some facet of who that part of your person is and not feel like that's going to take over everything else. I actually think people would probably find you more engaging. Like that's just another side of you, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't all be just okay, like social activism. Nobody's a social activist all the time. Some people are, and to be honest with you, those people really, I do not trust.
I'm really not.
Yeah, but it should be more things. I don't know if the Breakfast Club is what I feel is like where it's at. But a lot of people do. I don't feel like it's
here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Step and fetch it and blackface and coonery. Yeah. It's a part of our culture. I'm not saying it's not a part of our culture. I'm not saying it's not a locus of discourse. I'm not saying it's a place that's inauthentic. I'm not saying it's not authentically like an arena for Black American public discourse. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm saying don't fucking tell me Sidney Poitier is nothing and Step and Fetch It is where America is having its fucking reckoning with race. Like, it's just more coonery, you know what I mean? Like you guys want us to all be that. You want us to all be that, dog. What? Hey, did you know that the Surgeon General of the United States is a young Black man? Why isn't that the locus of America's reckoning with race? When he's
because that's not their brand. That's not their brand.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. It's not their brand.
Yeah.
And this is, I think this is.
But Kwali's got the greatest podcast show that's ever been done. He's got every great OG in hip hop history. They're not calling that the locus of.
No. It's, I don't know. I don't know why anybody would think that this is the definition of like what it means to be like Black in America, right? Like I don't.
Or what it means to be anything. Like if I told you that Hakeem and Sukonono Fokonono is the locus of being Egyptian, you would be like, no, dog. I mean, that's some shit we do, but it's not like it's nothing. Come on.
Much more. Yeah,
oh, you know what it means to be Egyptian? It's to eat termis on a bridge over the Nile. It's like, yeah, dog, that's one of the things Egyptians do, but that's not the locus.
Actually, it would be lib, not termis.
It's termis, but it's okay. You can pretend like you're more Egyptian than me somewhere else, homie. It's termis. Okay, listen, you don't eat لب.
Nobody is.
لب من مقلة ما تجيبش لب من كوبري انت مش فاهم اي حاجة اصلا. ممكن اسأل حضرتك سؤال؟ I don't know how this became an Arabic podcast. Hanan, you are someone who epitomizes balanced, authentic self-love, a clarity of mind on the need to invest in self, as well as maintain all these like gazillion obligations that are placed before us in life. And you have this phrase that you always say, do you, boo?
Mm-hmm.
And you see, even just that right there, right? There's like 150 years, there's 1,000 years of Egyptian history of women looking at dudes like, yeah, I told you.
Yeah.
So help us, like, just go. This is your forum. This is your arena. How did you come to learn it? What does it mean to you? How do you balance it? Different stages of life, friendships, etc.
Well, I came to learn it the hard way, right? Like we as I was saying, I came to learn this whole thing about this, what I say, like, do you, boo, or self-love the hard way, right? How did I say this last time? Let me just think. Give me a second. I have to formulate my thought. Yes. Okay, I'm ready. Basically, your whole life, I should say my whole life, or like many other people, especially being an immigrant, a child of immigrants, even if you're like first generation, or even if I'm an immigrant myself. I moved to the country when I was 10. And even just in our culture, right? There's this expectation of things that you need to do. You just do them, right? So you have to do them. And it's throughout your whole life. So you're born, and then you become a student, and that is your job for a very long time. And you have to do good. You have to do it really, really well. And if you don't do it well, there's all this like guilt that's placed behind like why you're not doing well. This is your only job. You need to do better. And then you eventually go to college. and then you eventually have to get married. You have to. It's not a choice. This is just the next part of it. This is something else that you need to do. That's it. You have to get married.
Why?
It doesn't
But
matter.
why?
Do you want
Because
to?
that's what you do.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do. This is what the expectation is. It's something that is expected of you to do. So you get married. After you get married, you have to have children. Whether or not you really like children, you have to have them, right? You can't just have one either. You have to have two. Because if you have one,
they're going to turn out to be a serial killer.
Exactly.
Right.
So I around the time I was 33 years old, I realized that I was doing a lot of things that I really didn't want to do. And I was spending none of that, all this effort that it took to do these things that I'm supposed to do, right? Like get up and go to work every day and go to a job that may not, that I was really like pushing, a job that I was really pushing myself to do that I really didn't enjoy. And I'm like, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? I'm not really sure I want to do this for the rest of my life, but it's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be an adult. You have a mortgage to pay. You have a child. You need to do these things. And then I realized, I'm like, you know what? No, I don't have to do these things. I should invest the amount of time that I'm investing in doing these things that I'm supposed to do. I should invest in things that make me happy. And when I say make me happy, I mean, give me satisfaction, make me feel fulfilled, right? Whether those things are, as long as it's nothing where you're hurting yourself, okay? And it takes you a lot of time to realize that you're hurting yourself. And it could be in a different plethora of ways, but that's a whole other discussion for a whole nother time. But as long as you're not hurting yourself and it's bringing you joy, right? You're getting up and you're looking forward to doing these things that you're doing every day, just go ahead and do them. That's what do you means. Take care of yourself. Make the time to take care of yourself. So I look at like, now you're doing you, boo. You're doing this podcast, right? How many years of your life, Ahmed, did you spend doing what you were supposed to do? I'm talking about from a career perspective, because we're looking at this as this is your next like big shift in career, right? How many years did you spend doing something that you felt passionately about, maybe just in that moment, or you were excited to do it, but in the grand scheme of things, maybe it wasn't the best thing to do, but this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to constantly try to grow and move forward and get bigger at what it is. And sometimes what you want to do may not perfectly align with what people expect of you.
Yeah, but so then what do you do? Like, even help me. Like, you're also my therapist. Like, so now I'm doing what I want to do, and there are a lot of people in my orbit, definitely not my wife, just to be clear. There are a lot of people in my orbit like that. There are a lot of people in my orbit who could kind of feel like you're not doing anything. Like, you know, I'm 18 episodes in and people are just like, bro, you're wasting time. You should be.
Okay, but that's the thing. That's their opinion, right? And my whole thing is, okay, even if they feel that it's not useful, can you give me like some constructive feedback as to why you think it? Is it from a topic perspective? Are you just not a podcast person?
No. They just don't believe in this. They're like, go apply for a job and get moving.
Okay, so are they paying your bills? No. So you should just continue to do what makes you happy. And if they haven't evolved to understand that it is okay for someone to do something outside of the norm of what you believe you're supposed to do, right? Then it's that you really can't help that person. And it's okay to have people like that in your orbit. I feel like those people actually give you motivation to continue to do the things that make you happy and the things that give you satisfaction. It's
so crazy because I was watching DJ Khaled on Drink Champs with DJ EFN and Noriega, and he was saying the same thing. He was saying like everybody wanted me to be a DJ, and I kept telling them like, no, we can do a lot of different things. We don't have to just be DJs. Yeah, and he's saying like that's how the world that we now know came to fruition. That he was down on his luck, he was down on life. Somebody was like, yeah, you should get on Snapchat. And then
boom, he blew up. I mean, but
he had done the work, of course. Like, he's old school. He had done the work, but not yet.
But he was a Snapchat therapist for like a really long time. It was actually kind of awesome. But no, honestly, like I literally got to this point around 33 years old, and I only had one child at the time. And I went through the late adolescence, which means that I did everything that I was not supposed to do all at the same time. All at the same time. Going out with my nothing was again nobody, and neither was I. No one was harmed.
Yeah.
Right?
No. We understand.
It's just very it's annoying because you know everybody around you at 33 years old. So mind you, I had been married already for a good chunk of time. I got married at 25. Okay, so I'd already been married for a good chunk of time. I had one child, and all of my friends were just starting to grow up. right? Like they're all now finding spouses and having children. And I'm like, I've been there. I've done that. Like I did everything I was supposed to do. It's time for me to have a good time. I'm going to go out. I'm going to stay out. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do all of these things that I wanted to do. And then people kind of look at you like, how do you make time for that? Like, don't you feel like you're wasting your time? Like, shouldn't you be investing this time and spending time with your kids and spending time with your husband? I'm like, no. I still meet all of my familial obligations, right? I still do everything I'm supposed to do. I get up and I go to work. I just make sure that I carve out enough time. And the word enough all depends on what you need, what your specific needs are, right? I carve out enough time to make sure that I'm doing something that makes me feel content, that makes me feel like I get up every day and I'm looking forward to something that I actually want to do, right? Not something that I have to do. And so work became that way. Work became a means for me to like enjoy my personal life. I made a decision that if I keep pushing towards a career, and I have a good job, I'm happy with what I do. I'm always learning.
It's okay. We can
right?
downplay it. Let's downplay it.
I'm
pretend like you
learning.
got a job. No, it's okay. It's okay. Let's downplay it. It's okay. Because I know Egyptians are all about the hasad, baby. They're like, she's like, yeah, I got a job. It's okay.
I do. I have a job. I have a job. I mean, we can have another real talk segment about my job if you want. No, but I'm not a doctor.
No, we're gonna have a podcast episode about your area of expertise, but that's a different conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah, but honestly, it just became a way for me to make sure that I am properly funding things that I enjoy or things that bring me satisfaction. And so I found out that investing time in, so like as a mom, and I know I'm hoping that I know you probably have parents who listen to your show a lot. Moms, dads, once you have kids and once you have a job and once you have a mortgage or you have rent or whatever and you have bills to pay, you kind of forget about yourself in the process, right? You kind of forget about like the little things that you do that like bring you joy, that bring you satisfaction. So I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make money and I'm going to invest it in myself. I'm going to make sure that I always look good from perspective of what? Like, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to make sure my skin's always on point. I'm going to make sure that my hair is always where I want it to be, and I'm dressed the way that I want to be. Because when I look at myself in the mirror, I want to be excited. I want to be happy with what I am receiving from myself. So that was like step one, right? And it kind of just like, it really does make you, it's something so small and so simple, but that kind of, that 20 minutes or whatever that I take every morning to make myself feel like a human being makes me feel happy for the rest of the day. The rest of the day, I'm like ready to face anything. But in addition to that, it was just carving out time to do things by myself. I also discovered that I need alone time. I need to be, and it's okay.
Even though you are a hyper social human.
Yeah, I know I am a hyper, and I think it's because I am a hyper social human. I still need that time to be on my own. But I discovered that that's okay. You know, a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm taking a trip. You're gonna leave the kids behind. You're going on your own. Let's say this is usually my mom telling me this. You're gonna that's it. You're just gonna go on your own. You're gonna leave the kids behind. She's gotten a lot better, but at first it's just yeah, she has gotten a lot better. But at first it was just like, no, why would you do that? You go everywhere with your children. Yeah, I don't want to go everywhere with my children. I want to be me on my own without my kids for a little period of time, and that should be okay. But yeah, this is like, if you have children, if you're just, you should really apply that to like anything you're doing in your life. If you're stuck in a job and you hate that job, you need to understand that, yes, I understand right now your job like funds your existence, right? You need that money to pay things. But this doesn't mean that you shouldn't carve out time to figure out like what the hell you want to do next with your life. It makes me really sad to think that like for a long time, I was just going to be stuck worrying about when are they going to renew my next contract? What am I going to be doing next with my life? Am I going to get that promotion? Am I going to get that raise? And then I decided to be like, F it. No, it's not going to be the most important thing that I'm going to worry about. But if that's what you want to do, invest time.
Do that.
And exactly, do that. Do you? But it really does. You can apply that to so many other aspects of your life. And it's simple things, because I've discovered too that when you don't invest that time in you, when you don't love you, right? When you don't have that little bit of selfishness, a tongue twister. When you don't have that little bit of selfishness where you can say, you know what, no, I need to figure out myself for a minute. I need pause, time out, right? I need to take this time for me to figure out what I want to do next. A lot of times people are like, yeah, but you just don't have that luxury. You're like, you know what, no, I'm going to make that luxury for myself. Because if you don't, usually it takes a good chunk of time, but then you end up discovering later that like you really hate everything about your life. And that's like the worst place to land at. I hate everything. I hate everyone. I don't want to be part of this family. You don't ever want to arrive there.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have a very supportive husband who's like, yeah, man, do you, this makes you happy. Like, I support your happiness, right? I think you're lucky also in that respect that you have a spouse that's like, you know, find your happiness, find out what is going to bring you joy and satisfaction. And I think that that's really important. Like, those guys should definitely get their credit, because it is, they do hard work too. Everything from
because most people are not willing to be with searchers.
No. Most people are when you finally find the one thing that makes you happy, not a one thing, or a plethora of things, and the many things that bring you joy, most people will dog you, or most people will bring you down and tell you this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing what society deemed important, right? And if you're not doing those things, then you are failing. And I actually, after a while, I discovered that no, it's actually the other way around. If I continue if I continue to do the things that someone just tells me that I need to do them, and I'm not really sure like why the hell I'm doing them, no, that is me failing at my life, right? But once you carve out the time to actually do things that you enjoy, you're like, no, man, life's pretty good. This is pretty rad. I'm really happy. Even if other people can't see that, even if they don't understand why it is that you're doing a podcast, right? Why is somebody with a PhD and a Juris Doctor doing a podcast? You could be a lawyer, for God's sakes. You could have a job anywhere. You could teach, you could do anything, right? But why the hell are you doing a podcast? Well, you know, I've done all these other things that people told me would bring me joy, that I'm supposed to do, and they didn't. So here we are, a little delayed in life.
Hell yeah, that's the word. That's the truth.
But
so can I ask you?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just interrupted you.
No, I was saying, like, it really is difficult, and it's a long journey to get there, to decide that, you know what, I don't care what people think. I want to do what makes me happy. I want to do what brings me satisfaction, right? It definitely is a journey. And I think people who don't have constructive criticism, and I say the word constructive because it's okay, because I could still criticize you and give you positive feedback that you can actually do something with, instead of me telling you like, no, you just shouldn't be doing that. It's not what you're supposed to be doing. I'm sorry, that's not constructive. But the folks who criticize you in a non-constructive manner haven't been through this process themselves. They do not realize that it is a journey, that it is work, that it takes time, that it actually is, it's hard, it's labor for the person going through it. And for the people around you that are going through it with you. They'll realize it like once they make that decision to explore themselves in that manner.
You and I once went out and you met a group of people that I know, and on the way out you said, those aren't your friends, boo.
Yeah, they're not your friends, boo.
Talk a little bit about like friendship. What like, you know,
about those people.
No. I mean, what should we be looking for in friendships? What sustains what?
Somebody who's not like with you to leech off of you. Okay, that's the most important thing. Sometimes, like when you're a person who's like hypersocial, like me, or like you're hypersocial. You haven't come to terms with that, but you are. You laugh because it's true.
I'm just letting it go. I'm just letting it go.
You're just like, whatever, it's fine. No, when you're a social person, you're somebody who's always like ideating, and somebody who's always thinking, and somebody who's always talking out loud. A lot of people love to be around that energy, right? So you have to figure out, like, in your group of friends, a friend, is that person feeding that energy? Right? Is that person providing you, when you leave that person, do you feel recharged, or do you feel like they've taken something from you? And that night when I met those people, I was they're not your friends, because they take stuff from you. They're not feeding that energy. They're not feeding that battery. Wow. They're there to like suck away, drain, and then move on.
You know, it's amazing, because when I was giving you the example of the conversation I was having with my best friends about Charlemagne, those two guys I've known since I was like 12, 11. Literally, I have never been with them without feeling like I have increased in energy, beauty,
self-confidence. In everything. Yeah. And it's not even because they're telling you something positive, you know? It's because
because they're agreeing with you.
Exactly. It's the dynamic of that relationship where you feel like you can have a really positive, you can have an argument, and you can have a session where it's all like, you know, like love and gooiness, but everything is positive. Even if you're arguing with that person, you know that it's never going to be in a manner that's going to take something away from you, right? So all this stuff about like loyalty and they have my back and this and that, none of that matters. It's does this person, when you sit with them, recharge you? Do they help feed that energy that you radiate? And so this is why, like, I'm super blessed to have a really good group of friends, right? Like friends that and there are friends in my life. So like one of my best friends, Lena and I have been friends since college, like over 20 years. She's awesome. Like her and I, we don't see each other often, but when we do, it's like, I don't know, it's this weird, we like, it's not just like picking up where you left off. No, it's just the conversation just flows. It's so natural. And even when we're talking politics, when we're talking like, forget politics and religion, when we're talking about like real life problems, real life issues, things that make or break you, it's being able to be with that person and understand that everything you say, it's in a safe space. Everything that you everything that's gonna any advice, any information exchange back and forth is only going to help you do good, right? And be good and be better and improve. For me, that's like really what a friend is. But even like my greater group of friends, and I always say, people laugh at me because I say I live my life in circles, right? So with my friends in circles. So here's the circle. There's people who are like in here inside the circle, and then the circle expands out, right? And so it doesn't necessarily mean that you and I are not close or we're not friends, but it's just I base our interactions on the circle, right? So there's people that I interact with for very specific purposes. It's not positive or negative, it's super neutral, but it's great to have them around and it's fun. But then the people that are like in here, in my inner circle, those are the people that I have expectations of. Those are the people that I share with, and we share back and forth. Those are the people that I feel like really help me grow as a person. One of those people is actually my sister. She's like my built-in best friend, right? Like she really is. She's my built-in best friend. And her and I, we're very, very different people. Very different people. But I don't know, like having her, we exchange ideas, we chat, we discuss, we talk, and, you know, but I never feel bad or awful. Like when even when we're fighting about something, like it's never to the point where I feel bad about myself. So that's like, for me, like what a friend really embodies. It's somebody who like kind of carries you through life, but not in a negative way, just like in a way where, I guess, not carries you. Like they're just with you on your journey, regardless of whatever the hell happens. There are speed bumps, if you guys fall into a ditch, if whatever, they're just there. And they're always making sure that, you know, you're going to be okay. Whatever, in whatever means that you allow them to do that, and vice versa. But yeah, it should just never be somebody who just takes away from you. And so those folks that we met that night, they were definitely there because they didn't, where you were in life, right? When you met these people or when you knew these people or whatever, when I say where you were in life is like where you were socially in life, where you were professionally in life. There's all these different factors. They didn't really care about you. They cared about where you were in life, right? It's your status. It's what you were doing. It's who you're with. It's who you're seeing every day. And that's what mattered. So for them, it's like, that's what I mean by when I say like a leech. So for them, it's okay, let me latch onto this person and see what I can take, right? And are all of these people still around in the same sort of like in this, I just say in the same degree in which they were in before? I'm sure not. Are some of these people the ones who are like, why the hell is Ahmed Yunus doing a podcast after, you know, doing this job and that job and the other? Probably. So yeah, no, those are not your friends, boo. They're not.
Hanan, you're amazing. Hanan, I want to conclude your first of many guest spots on my podcast with
I feel like I rambled.
You're brilliant. This is I mean, this is supposed to be a phone call, but what do you say to the people who will feel like, well, wait a minute, this is a little bit too much I, me, and don't
Why not?
and don't have a sense of like you're also like the Boy Scouts thing, and you're also like they do, you know what I mean? Like, what do you say to people who will argue that this philosophy is not possible if you're trying to live a balanced life?
I will tell them that they have poor time management. But no, they
Good
do.
for
That's
you.
number one. They have poor time management. Two, this is Ahmed, you hit on something really important. If someone tells me, why are you saying I will tell them, like, they really don't have an understanding of what self-love actually means. It's okay to be a little selfish and say, I want to take time for myself to do these things. It doesn't mean that I'm not a good mom. Okay. I have two kids that both have busy schedules and full lives. I am, first and foremost, I am a daughter, I'm a sister, I am a wife, I'm an aunt, I'm a mother, I'm a mentor. I do so many things in life. I'm a friend to so many. But you just have to balance these things. And in the middle of all of that, if you don't find time for you, for yourself, you're going to get lost. And it's not just about doing the things that you don't want to do. You're actually going to end up doing a lot of that. But more so than anything else, you're going to find that by not carving out that time, you're going to start to resent everything that's around you that you're supposed to be doing and the things that are, you're supposed to be paying attention to. So if I'm an overtired mom, like if I don't get enough sleep, if I don't get enough time by myself, if I don't find a different way to recharge my battery, how am I going to go out and like do the things with like my kids that I don't enjoy doing? I am not a scout. I was never an Eagle Scout. I was never a Girl Scout. I was never a Boy Scout.
You're
I
like,
don't like
well,
to be
unless
in
the Boy
nature.
Scouts meets at the W Lobby or the Ritz, I'm not a scout.
Exactly. But if I don't find time for me, I really am going to resent all the other responsibilities that I have, right? Because that's the thing, is when I can't let my yes, there are my responsibilities. Yes, I chose to have children. Yes, I chose to have bills and a mortgage, but it's not me. Those things are not those things aren't me. Me is so much more than that. And it is totally acceptable for me to explore the other sides of me, not just the bill paying, baby toting, whatever, practice driving person, and then also like be a professional at the same time. And it's okay. You know what, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh my god, I'm like the perfect time manager. No, shit slips through the cracks. It's okay. It's okay. But we're all alive. That's always nobody's bleeding, we're all alive, and we're all super happy. Like, seriously, like,
yeah,
I
that's
had
what matters.
like during the quarantine, when we first started quarantine, the kids got out of school, a lot of my friends were like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna get the kids online? I was like, oh man, I paid for a tutor. Like, that's what I did. I paid for this to be someone else's problem. Then I don't have to worry about it anymore. He doesn't feel like getting on to the Zoom call for school today. Okay. Honestly, the world is a shit show right now. Do you really think, if you thought about it in the grand scheme of things, that the Zoom call that he missed for 5th grade science or 6th grade science is going to make a difference? No. So if you think about it that way, like, it doesn't get overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. Life does get overwhelming sometimes. There is a lot of times, like, I'm somebody who suffers from anxiety. It is something that you live with every day. It's sometimes it's terrible, like it's crippling, and sometimes it's fine, right? One of the ways for me to deal with my anxiety was to be able to find time for myself to do whatever it is that I wanted to do, so that I'm not worried about, are we going to do this at the correct time? Are my children going to make it? Are they going to be successful people? And then I also decided, like, okay, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't worry so much about them being successful. Maybe I should worry about them being happy. And then that made things a little bit better. But like, in order for me to calm the shitstorm that's constantly going on in my brain, I decided that I need to take more time for myself. And it was like the best decision I ever made. So it's not going to be easy.
Beautiful.
Time management is a bitch. It really is. It's hard. Beautiful. But in order for me to not go crazy, I decided that this is one thing that it was okay for me to do for myself, was to say I don't want to do this, or I want to do this, or, you know what, I am not going to this wedding. I just don't have the energy or the time, and I don't want to wear this dress, right? Or seriously. Or, you know what, I don't want to sit on the grass during soccer practice. My husband's going to do that. I don't want to do that. And it was like the best decision I ever made for everybody. Because you know what, I'm happy. So when I'm happy, everybody in my house is happy. And it's a very like chill, relaxed place. and when I am able to go out and do these little things for myself, I'm a much better everything, much better wife, daughter, sister, mom, everything. I'm a much better everything when I take that time for me. So yeah.
You're the best.
Thank you.
And then I want to thank you for giving us your honest and very present ideas and emotions. And it means so much to me that you're the first. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. Let's hope that somebody out there finds this useful.
I definitely did.
I'm glad, but you always do. That's bias. No, honestly, my goal is for like, if anybody listens to this, even if it's just one person gets inspired to start doing like one thing for themselves, even if it's for like 15 minutes, not even a day, but like a week, just if it inspires someone to say, you know what, I'm going to take that trip. Well, not right now. Don't go over. Please don't take any trips. But yeah, I'm going to do this thing.
But like with no guilt, like invest in yourself with no guilt.
That's the thing. Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, invest in yourself with no guilt. And it can be with anything. And realize that like whatever investment you're making, so like your investment is this podcast. My investment is like Botox and fillers. Like everybody has a different investment. Everybody has a different investment. Invest in yourself. And then when you get to a point where you're like, you know what? I'm actually like super happy that I did that, and investing, whatever it is, time, energy, money, effort, whatever, and coming to an understanding that like you're actually happy making that investment. It makes you feel good about yourself, and it brings you satisfaction. If I can inspire like one person to do that, or maybe just get into their head and have them do that, I will consider myself a winner.
You're the best, Hanan. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you'll be back if that's okay with you.
Inshallah.
Thanks, Hanan. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank
Much
you.
love.
You do the same.